Outrage is growing nationwide over the recent unruly anti-ICE mob that disrupted a Minneapolis church service, and President Trump himself is now weighing in on the matter. Pipe down, America. POTUS has something to say. In a furious post on Truth Social, Trump says he's finally had time to watch the video of the disturbing incident and that the people involved were undoubtedly professional agitators and insurrectionists who were all intentionally trained to rant and rave like complete lunatics. And it most likely didn't take a whole lot of training. Goes on to say that at the very least, the screaming troublemakers should be thrown in jail, if not out of the country entirely, and that Minnesota's corrupt ringleaders, Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar, they should be the first individuals to go. And I say yeah, and on the first plane out. Additionally, the Department of Homeland Security is also placing the blame for the incident squarely on the shoulders of Democrats. They say that both Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, they're guilty of whipping mobs of demonstrators into an absolute frenzy and then allowing them to run rampant in a dangerous citywide hunt for federal law enforcement officers. That's disturbing. In case you missed it, this past weekend, dozens of chanting protesters busted their way into a local house of worship in St. Paul looking for a pastor whom they accused of working directly for ICE and the Justice Department. They're now investigating those culprits for committing federal civil rights violations concerning freedom of religion. Serious charges. In the meantime, a number of Trump administration officials, including the president himself, say that way too much emphasis is being placed on ICE operations in Minnesota and that not nearly enough attention is being paid to the staggering sums of money which were stolen by Governor Walz and the state's other corrupt politicians. We always say it right here, follow the money. As a result, the House Energy and Commerce Committee just announced that they're opening what they call an industrial-scale investigation into massive fraud in Minnesota's government-funded healthcare programs, including Medicaid. We're going to do some snooping around. Meanwhile, things just keep getting worse for good old Governor Walz. According to a new report, when Walz was in the process of being vetted as a potential running mate in the 2024 election, campaign aides for this one, former Vice President Kamala Harris, repeatedly grilled the governor over his potential ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Apparently, decades ago, I've heard about this, Walz was a teacher in China before first entering politics, and after returning to the States, he went back there many times thereafter as a guide on student field trips. Final thought, and this is the News Roundup Lowdown. Here's the bottom line. The president calls the thugs who stormed a place of worship over the weekend in St. Paul insurrectionists. I don't have a problem with that. What I won't stand for on this program, though, is anybody calling those punks low class. I know who they are. I know what they've done, what their mission is. They're not low class. Rather, they're worse. They're no class. A bunch of fools invading a church during services looking for what they say was an ICE agent is nothing more than a goofy witch hunt, and they're only making the community a bit more dangerous. The 47, he's spot on. Lock him up. Leave some extra space in that prison cell for both Walz and Omar, and they can all spend some quality time together in one cozy little cell. Hey, make no mistake, everything that's happening right now in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area is being orchestrated by a select few evil people, and all to pull your attention away from the billions of dollars worth of fraud and corruption taking place in that place, Walsneyland. For the thousands of people who've left comments for us right here wanting to know when the hard-working governor and the honorable congresswoman are going to be locked up, I'll say it again. Be patient. The Trump administration knows full well what's happening, who's responsible to, and in time, those individuals, I guarantee it, they will be held fully accountable.